this is the second course we're looking at, which is the Residential Energy Retrofit for Management. As Seamus said, this is a higher diploma. So move to the next one. So this was in collaboration between TUS and ATU. And it's the first one of our collaborations on this. So, and this aims to develop experts in the residential retrofit field who can manage and scale up large-scale retrofittings in Ireland. So it's particularly aimed at people who are going to manage and coordinate upgrading and retrofitting not just one dwelling, but a number of dwellings. So it's open to, you know, social housing groups, etc., etc. And it's a level 8 and it's a higher diploma. And it's worth 60 credits. Now, within this, we have what you call special purpose awards. We have 3 different pillars within that. And I'll talk about them later. So if you feel as if you've completed one of these pillars, you may be able to get exempt and move on to the next one. But, you know, obviously that needs to be shown and proven. So if we move to the next slide. So the aim of this program is, as I said, is to upskill building professionals. So you have to come in at a level 8 or show proof in working in the industry. The idea is to develop your knowledge and skills to allow you to design and deliver high quality, energy efficient retrofitting. And that's the important part. There's a lot of people doing retrofitting, but there's a lot of skills that have not been brought to the fore because they're new within the systems. So we are particularly focusing on existing residential buildings because there's a huge amount of residential buildings that need retrofitting, and it's a new norm now. Rather than building new buildings, we need to start retrofitting what we have. And it needs to comply with Ireland's latest building regulations. There has been some amendments, that new ACDs are up there, and we'll be talking about this and introducing this throughout the course. So as retrofit managers, you'll be able to contribute to Ireland's climate change and our own energy targets, and in particular in relation to green renovation of buildings. It will boost the demand for energy efficiency, and what is important, we need to create this trusted industry professional standard. So we have professional people who have gone through this course. I think it'd be recognised a lot more by the homeowners within Ireland. So as a graduate from this, you'll be employed within residential retrofit one-stop shops or SMEs providing these specific services. And the target, as you all know, is to renovate 500,000 buildings by 2030 in Ireland. So just move to the next slide. So I talked about the entry requirements here, a level 8 in a similar discipline, or a level 7 with stated 1 year relevant experience. And they're also always a special case access. So if you don't fit in either of those criteria, but have lots of experience already, you know, as Seamus said in the first course, put the case forward and possibly an interview, and we'll look at it through recognition of prior learning, what we call RPL within TUS. We try not to exclude anyone. If you have experience, we'd like you to take and come on top on the course. So if you move to the next slide. So these are the 3 streams we're talking about, the Special Purpose Awards, SPAs for short, because we like using acronyms. So the first special purpose is Residential Energy Retrofit aimed at fabric, and that will be starting in September. The second one is Residential Energy Retrofit for systems, and that will start really in January. And then the final special purpose award is a Residential Energy Retrofit for management, and that will start in September 2023. So it's basically over 3 semesters, equivalent of a year. So I'll briefly go through each stream. So if you go to the next one. Again. And next slide, thank you. Okay, so we'll look at the first SPA. This is the Certificate in Residential Energy Retrofit Fabric. This has 20 credits, and it predominantly looks at the building fabric. So we invest the building physics, the fabric, air tightness, vapor control, and all these are very important for retrofitting homes. And then we also look at defects, how to detect them, analyze and provide solutions before you complete a retrofit. This part is quite often missed out when people are retrofitting. They don't properly survey or do a condition survey of a building. So modes of the first module, which is the building physics and fabric, is a 10 credit module. And we cover the modes of heat transfer, thermal bridging, the implications for heat loss, surface interstitial condensation, and good practice detailing and workmanship. The second part then is heat loss calculations, and we look at that for the walls, floors, roofs, windows, and how to input these into DEEP. Then we look at the properties of the insulation materials. These are really important, what's fit for purpose, and we go through different scenarios that you can use. And we look at thermal, vapor diffusion, hygrothermal properties, etc. Then we look at types of insulation systems as well. So then we also look at air tightness standards and approaches. This is in the second module. Thermal comfort, air quality and condensation. Moisture management, look at hygrothermal challenges, because they're always an issue in a lot of retrofit buildings. And then designing an air tightness solution. So we have multiple case studies we use and solutions. And Seamus also mentioned case studies are extremely useful for you to understand and learn more, because quite often what's happened in one building will be replicated in another building. So knowing how to solve issues is always really important. And the final module in this SPA covers digital tools for identifying building defects in existing buildings, formatting condition assessments, building fabric defects identification and analysis, especially for energy upgrades. And we do a hygrothermal risk evaluation and modelling. Now, this is at introduction level only, as we don't want to duplicate courses, and we know that TU Dublin have a great course, the postgraduate certificate in building performance. I think it's the energy efficiency and design they have, and that deals with hygrothermal risk assessments and modelling in more detail. So this is a good stepping stone to get the basis of it, and later a year or so later you could actually go possibly do this course if you want to specialise in that field. So this is the whole point. We are developing the gaps that are in the market. We're not duplicating what's already out there. So we're going to work with all these different institutes or technological universities, as we're now known, and sharing information, make sure that we provide you with step-by-step and help you with your career paths and upskill in different fields which you need within your career. So next we have specific U value calculations for decision making in energy upgrades, and finally maintenance and repair, storing information digitally. How do you do that? And this helps you along the way. So the emphasis is really placed on retrofitting, which takes into account many hidden challenges once you start opening up the structure, as many of you probably experienced. So if we move to the next slide, we'll look at the second special purpose award, and this is the certificate in residential energy retrofit for the systems. So this is a 15 credit module, and it looks at systems and services, not so much the fabric, but the actual services you will be installing. And in particular, what's required in a retrofitted home. It's quite often a lot different than a new home. So you have to look at it in a different approach and in a different way. So the first module is looking at heating and domestic hot water. And in particular, looking at heating and domestic hot water specific to retrofit. So we look at heat loss calculations. There'll be lots of practical aspects you'll be doing online on that, lots of calculations within that, and relevant policy and legislation, because that's also extremely important. Then we move to the ventilation module, and this covers the requirements for various types of ventilation and ventilation systems. We also look at comfort, indoor air quality, which is extremely important, condensation, again, because there's always a crossover. And as you know, if we have air tightness, we need ventilation. So that's expressed in both these two different modules. And also the relationship between the ventilation and heating system is really important. And then finally, commissioning and testing of the systems. You need to understand how that works, especially for a retrofit. Then the final module within this special purpose award is renewable energy systems and electricity and smart buildings. Smart buildings builds on from the first SPA. So we look at microgeneration, PV, wind, microhydro, district options, because remember, we're not just looking at a single dwelling, it may be a group of dwellings. So it may be understand all the different options that you have. Then we look at modelling using RETScreen, HOMA and other tools. We're introducing you to all those. And as far as the smart buildings and system integration, we'll be looking at different types of smart building systems. A lot of case studies will be available there. In particular, look at smart meters and how important controls are. Controls can bring down your energy rating significantly. What also important is looking at battery storage and electric vehicle integration. They're all the new things on the market, and we have to consider those in all the buildings. So that's the second special purpose award, and move to the next slide for the third special purpose award. So this is the management aspects of it, Residential Energy Retrofit Management, and this is 25 credits. So there's 4 different modules within this. The first one is we'll be introducing the project management aspects, the roles of the project manager or coordinator, and the team players. You know, what roles do everybody have? What responsibilities do they have? Which is extremely important. And we also look at project risk management, project management processes, health and safety, of course, it all comes within the whole realm. Quality management strategies, we'll be going through different scenarios for you there. And then supply chain management. The second module, we look at the business planning and finance. Seamus will be running this, so if he wants to chip in, he can. We'll be looking at the business plan process and supports, cost classifications as an aid to decision making. We'll look at budgeting, financial analysis and forecasting, and I suppose critical aspects of human resource management. So they're the key ones in that module. And we move to the third module is circular economy and procurement. So circular economy is a new thing that's out there. To be honest, it's been there for a long, long time. It's just been labelled now circular economy. And we'll introduce you to circular economy in respect to construction projects, which includes modern methods of construction, MMC. So we'll be introducing all that part to you. Then introducing sustainable and responsible procurement in construction sector, so that's predominantly green public procurement. Project labelling and certifications, because they're all extremely important. We need to prove that you have green materials, etc., and they do what they say. Introduction to principles of life cycle assessment and life cycle costings. Now this is all introductory. You know, there are other, I know obviously IGBC are experts in life cycle assessment, so you know there are other modules that possibly add on in the future if you want to progress in that field as well. And the important resource and waste management plans. They're extremely important now when you're, especially if you're retrofitting building, what do you do with your waste? Where does it go? How are you going to recycle, reuse, repurpose, etc., etc. So the last one, if you want to go to the next slide, the last module in SP3 is the actual project itself. So this is the big energy retrofit project. You will be predominantly working on this by yourself, but we will nominate mentors for supervision purposes within this. So basically what you've learned in all the SPAs, you'll apply all this knowledge and develop your energy retrofit designs for a number of house typologies. We're not asking you to just look at one house. We'd like you to consider different typologies within a house and different scenarios you'd use. And the aim of this project design is to integrate the concepts addressed, such as passive solar design, renewables, energy systems, smart technology, air tightness, ventilation, and overall high-level design for retrofitting these buildings. They'll also include project technical details energy, financial analysis calculations, project planning, and procurement outlines, etc. So there's a whole array of things to look at it from a holistic point of view. I see many of you are architects as well, so you're used to doing a holistic approach to things. So that's the final SPA on that. So if you move to the next one, I'll explain the delivery and your time commitment, I suppose, because that's extremely important for most of you, as your majority of you are working in the industry at the moment. So the first special purpose award will be starting in September, and you'll have 8 hours contact and 24 hours independent study. Predominantly these are online, and we run these in the evenings, so it doesn't interrupt your working program too much. There is a site visit, and we're looking at going to a training centre for the first semester. But then there's also a workshop for the third module, if you remember the defects detection module. And the workshop will have go through some digital tools with you. That's where you'll be practicing your VR training, your educational tool. We'd like you to test that out and see what you think and get your opinions on it, because this is a tool we want to develop more and more. How beneficial it would be to people in particular going to a building where there's health and safety issues, and if you have asbestos, you can't investigate it. So these tools help you understand what approaches to take to solve those issues as far as health and safety is concerned. So we try to organise these workshops on a Friday or Saturday, again, to accommodate your busy life. And again, the assessments, it's all continuous assessment. We don't have exams within any of these programs we're showing today. And we have online quizzes for each of the different modules, and practical assignments leading to a final reflective fabric project. So what you learn in the first semester, we're bringing together into one project, predominantly just looking at the fabric aspects of it. So if you go to the second semester, which is the second special purpose award, this is where we're looking predominantly at the services and the systems. So this will start in January, and there are 6 hours contact with this and 8 hours independent study. Again, all online tutorials and lectures. And again, one site visit for this. We've yet to have a venue confirmed, but we'd like to take you to, I won't say where yet, where venue hasn't been confirmed as yet. So again, the assessment, no exams, it's all continuous. The online quizzes, practical assignments leading to a final reflective smart building project. So you'll be building on your fabric one and creating a scenario for smart building. Look at it. So as you see, we're predominantly trying to make everything online as much as possible, but we do have to have interactive site visits or workshops, because some things you have to learn by investigating and looking at things in reality, things which are there in the industry. So special purpose of the 3, if you go to the next slide. So this, as I say, is the following September, so September 2023, by the time you get to this one. This is 7 hours and 31 hours independent, predominantly online, again with online lectures and an interactive workshop or site visit. And it's the same format, online quizzes, practical written assignments, leading to a final reflective energy retrofit project. And this energy retrofit project is the big project. So there's a lot of marks allocated to this one. And it's basically what you've learned in the other 2 SPAs, you will be feeding into this as well to make it into one concrete project, looking at different typologies, as I said, won't just be one building.